He goes, I can't believe you're still scared. I mean, you've been doing the luge for what, almost 30 years now, and you're still scared. What's going on in your head, when you're sliding? And I said, man, as I see those walls going faster and faster, I get tighter and tighter, and I can't believe I can even steer at the bottom of the track because I'm tight like a board. And he goes, luge is not about speed. I said, what? He goes, it's not. They can clock you at the fastest speed, but if you crash at the bottom of the track, you lost the race. Luge is about who has the best time. In fact, it's the only Olympic sport that's timed to the 1/1000th of a second. Okay, that's how important the time is. And so stop looking at those walls. They're scaring you. Put on blinders. Just pretend you're a horse, put on blinders, and focus on a spot 30 feet in front of you. And your thinking needs to be, what do I need to do in every section of every curve to ensure I'll have the best time? If you change your focus, the fear will disappear.
This is Coming Up Clutch with JR, helping the world's best in sports, entertainment, and business make winning a lifestyle.
What's up? It's JR, and welcome to another episode of Coming Up Clutch. Today we're going behind the scenes with Ruben Gonzalez. Here's a man who's one of the clearest examples I've ever seen that winning isn't just about talent. It's about commitment. Ruben's a four-time Olympic athlete whose story will completely reframe how you think about perseverance, pressure, and really just staying in the fight when the odds are stacked against you. At 21 years old, Ruben decided that it would be a good idea to jump on a sled and hurl himself down an icy mountain at over 80 miles an hour. In a sport he had never done before. 4 years and more than a few broken bones later, Ruben made his Olympic dream a reality. But he didn't stop there. Ruben kept training, kept competing, and at 47 years old, he found himself racing against 20-year-olds at the Vancouver Winter Olympics, becoming the first person in history to compete in 4 Winter Olympics across 4 different decades. Today, Ruben is one of the most sought-after motivational speakers in the country and the best-selling author of The Shortcut and The Courage to Succeed, which has been translated into 10 languages around the world. But what I really wanted to unpack with Ruben isn't just his Olympic story. It's the daily disciplines and the mental frameworks and the belief systems that allowed him to stay committed when quitting would have been much easier and far more logical, especially at 47 years old. So if you've ever felt behind or overlooked or wondered whether the work you're putting in is actually worth it, this conversation is definitely for you. Get ready to be challenged, be encouraged, and be equipped with strategies that you can apply immediately. We're going to talk about how identity drives everything. We'll get into how fear and really how you can eliminate fear in pressure situations. We'll also get into how confidence isn't believing nothing will go wrong, and we'll get into what confidence is instead. And before I forget, if you're empowered by the show and learning something, make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts so you don't miss out when we drop new episodes. Just hit that purple plus on the top right-hand corner of the podcast app. When you do that, you make it easier for others who need this content to see it. And of course, share it. Play that hero to your family, your friends, your teammates by giving them the link to this or sending them to comingupclutch.com. And when you go and post about this episode on social, make sure to tag me and Ruben. All right, here we go. Let's get Ruben Gonzalez live on the mic. Ruben, my man, say what's up to our Coming Up Clutch crew.
JR, I'm so glad we finally get to meet. I think it was Damon Lemby that hooked us up.
Little Damon Lemby
been a
shout
whirlwind.
out.
He's a real connector.
That guy is on another level of connecting. I mean, he's great. So I'm glad we got connected. I'm glad I got an Olympian in the house. We have so much to unpack today. But as you know how my show goes around here, we like to bring out an embarrassing moment first. So with your journey, and now you're on the speaking circuit, there's got to be some embarrassing moments. So share one with us so we get a little laugh.
Well, it's funny. I do a lot of podcasts, and no one's ever asked me that question, which it's a cool question. So good for you. So this is on the road to my first Olympics. I lived in Houston at the time. I worked out in a little hole in the wall gym, and in walks Evander Holyfield. Okay, it was
Oh,
Lou Duva. He brought his whole team to train in Houston. They like the heat and humidity because they pull less muscles. And this is right after he'd won. Holyfield. He was a light heavyweight, and he moved up to heavyweight, and everybody thought they were going to hand him his head. And he wins, and all of a sudden he's a celebrity because that miracle. And so he walks into our gym, and everybody, including myself, we all started doing the same thing. We started whispering real loud, right? That's Evander Holyfield. What's he doing here? And nobody had the guts to go say hi to him. But the littlest one, because he had every weight class, I guess, the littlest one, he didn't look so intimidating. So he gets on a stationary bike, and I got right next to him, and I figured, okay, I got to start a conversation. So what do you do? What's your sport? I box. What do you do? I'm a loser. And he goes ballistic on me. A loser? Don't you ever call yourself a loser, man. You're a winner. He went motivational speaker on me. Everybody got off their machines and started sticking their necks up right there. I almost walked out and joined a different club. I mean, that was my most embarrassing moment. And
oh
I asked
man.
him, man, why did you freak out, when you thought I called myself a loser? And I explained to him first, right? I says, it's like the bobsled. Back then, you had to explain it to everybody. Oh, yeah, I get it. Okay, sorry, man. So why'd you freak out? And he goes, well, man, you ought to know better. Champions don't call themselves losers. Winners don't call themselves
Mm,
stupid, okay? Sometimes I'm walking down the mall, and you know what's going on in my head? I don't know what. I'm the champ. I'm the champ. I always win. And I don't talk that way to my friends. If I brag that way to my friends, I wouldn't have very many friends. But I need to say it to myself because I'm just a human being. Sometimes I don't feel
mm.
worthy of the title. I says, what, the title? Who are you? It was Vinny Pazienza. He was a lightweight champion in boxing back then. He won boxing championships and several belts. I mean, if I'd have
Mm.
known I was talking to the champ, I wouldn't have gone to him either. But
Man, what a I mean, here we go getting the embarrassing moment, but what a lesson in identity. Holy
oh yeah,
cow.
he actually then he goes, okay, here's what you do. You wear a rubber band, okay, a really fat, thick one. Every time you catch yourself bad mouthing yourself, you pop yourself as hard as you can and replace the negative word with a positive word. I said, man, that's so simplistic. I went to college for Pete's sake. He goes, hey, work
Yeah,
for me,
yeah,
work for Evander. Walks me
yeah.
over Evander Holyfield. Hey, that rubber band thing work? Yep. That's my whole conversation with Evander. And at
My
the end of my
gosh.
workout, I went and got me a rubber band, and that made a big difference because I started nipping it in the bud. And even when you know about self-talk, you have to nip it in the butt because
Oh man.
you'll catch yourself.
And what a story and simplicity too. We're talking about a rubber band, man. Like it's nothing crazy here. So
No,
obviously, we're already getting a taste. You got tons of stories in your bag of tricks, Ruben. I mean, I shared with my audience, your background, part of some of your story. You got a lot going on. So today, so are you primarily speaking? Are you on the speaker circuit in your day to day right now?
oh yeah, that's what keeps the lights on. I've been speaking professionally full time since 2002, so coming on
Mm.
25 years,
Oh my
and written
gosh.
several books. Most speakers they speak at a lot of associations, but I 99% of my clients are big companies, lots of sales
Mm.
kickoffs because I used to sell copiers in Houston, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
Gosh, man.
that's what I've been doing.
Your story though, man. I like I'm thinking, at the time of this recording, I'm 45 years old. And to think that I'd be training for the Olympics in my 40s is like now, I will tell you, I'm still sick in the head. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could trade for some right now. Let's go. I'll do it. I'll do
Sure.
it right now. It's like the mind of a 20-year-old,
Yeah.
but the body reminds me, it's like, yeah, you practice a little too much on that old AstroTurf, JR. Your body's not made for that. But Ruben, when progress for you was painfully slow and you were clearly behind the field when you looked at, your peers, the competition, what have you. I'm curious we talked about the rubber band, how simple that was. Did you have like a go-to daily process that you refused to, it was a non-negotiable, this is how you did it, so you wouldn't focus on the progress and how you felt, and you just kept, focused at the task at hand?
I did back then. It was very simple, but and today it's still simple. But that daily process in the morning, especially, that starts off the day on the right foot. Um, I lived in Houston. I was born in Argentina. We moved to the States when I was 6, and I saw the Olympics when I was 10. And and it was my dream, but it was a pipe dream because I was on the bench for kickball. Okay, a lot of heart, but no body, just like Rudy. And and I was fascinated about the Olympics. I just kept reading about it, and that led to reading biographies and personal development and learning how to be better so that I could perform better. And when I'm 21, I see Scott Hamilton win the gold medal in figure skating, and everything changed. I thought, if that little guy can win,
Mm.
I can at least play. I'm gonna be in the next one. This is a done deal. I just got to find a sport. And I picked the luge because I thought it looks like a lot of broken bones. Maybe there'd be a lot of quitters, and I just won't quit. Okay, my nickname was Bulldog, just
Mm.
tenacious, don't quit. And I didn't even know where the track was. Okay, and so I wrote Sports Illustrated a letter. I asked them, "Where are you going to learn how to luge?" And this is back in 1984.
Oh my
And they actually
gosh.
wrote back and they sent me a picture of a guy on a luge. I stuck it on a frame, put it right in front of my bed in the bedroom. And the first person I saw every morning was the luge man. And he reminded me, hey, I got to work out. I got to eat right, hang around winners, read good books for the mental side. And it kept me focused, kept the goal top of mind. At night, before I shut off the lights, last person I saw every night was the luge man. So what do you think I dreamt about at night?
Mm.
Luge, Olympics.
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm. Mm.
and I still do little reminder things like that on my phone. My ring is the tone up at the men's start, that the bell that they use the same tone all over the world that gets you ready. You got 20 seconds to go. Whenever my family, we were just talking about family before we started recording. If anybody else texts me, I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna even hear anything because I don't want to be interrupted. Right? You got to stay focused on your
Mhm.
main thing.
Mhm.
But if my
Mhm.
family texts me, my kids text me, then the text sound I recorded it at the luge track. It's just a sled going by. So I'm thinking about the Olympics all the time. I'm staying focused on it all the time.
Oh man.
I'm at a friend's house here, but in my office, I counted one day. I've got like 30 sets of Olympic rings bombarding my brain with where I want to go. If I daydream Olympics, and that's what it takes. You know how
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
it takes. You can't do three different things. You won't reach any of them. You got to focus on one thing.
Absolutely love that. So, I got listeners who are all high quick starts here, and they're sitting there going, "Ah, Ruben, that's great. You're an Olympian. You got all that. I mean, that's an easy trigger for you." How for the everyday listener who's not a four-time Olympian, how could they apply the same principle, starting tonight, this week at work, something at home? Because I'm sure you get that question, like, "Okay, that's great. I love that. How do I do it?"
Well, tie your work goals or your business goals to something personal, right? A reward you're going to get, but you have to earn it, right? Tie it to that. And so now you're not working to sell X amount of widgets, right? You're working towards I'm gonna take the family on vacation, 3-week vacation in the Orient or whatever. And
Yeah.
you're looking at the pictures. And if you're a manager, especially if you're a sales manager, my best manager, I used to sell copiers in Houston. And Linda Shepard, she was incredible. And she knew that she knew everybody's hotspot. And so Mark, he was into cars. And so she'd bring him brochures of really cool cars, right? Hey, how's the goal setting going on? When are we going to get that car? I can't wait to ride with you. And then Mary, she wanted to take her family on a cruise. So she's getting cruise. So she didn't talk numbers. She talked passion and energy and the thing that would drive the why. She focused on the why. And you can do it on
Mm.
yourself too.
Mm, mm, mm. It's obviously there's so much research behind, having a why behind the what. I talk about it a lot. One of my good friends, Dr. Darius Daniels, and I butcher this every time, but the key piece is he goes, if your why doesn't make you cry, then keep looking into
That's
that.
nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your dreams got to keep you up at night. Yeah, just the
Absolutely.
thought of it got to get you excited, pumped up.
So this is so thinking about your journey and just, obviously Ruben, I wasn't a four-time Olympian, but I played, high level baseball through Division One. And I it was always this constant tension between doing what you can do or could do and doing what matters most. How do you continually make those decisions of like, you know what? I'm going to do this because it matters most. I could be doing all these other things, if you will, but this is what matters most. I need to decide to put my focus here. How do you deal with that tension every day?
Okay. So I did the luge on and on. I'm still doing it. Okay. I'm 63. I'm sliding better and more consistently than ever before. I competed in 88. Calgary was my first one. And then Albertville in France in 92. That was 8 years straight. And then I quit. I was burned out and I was just done. And I wanted to do other things with my life. 6 years went by. My coach talked me into coming back. He says, Salt Lake, U.S. Olympic spirit is the best. You don't want to miss it. You'll regret it. And finally, he talked me into it. So started training and I made Salt Lake. And then right after Salt Lake, I started speaking professionally. Just kind of fell in my lap. Okay, I'm an introvert, believe it or not.
Hmm.
But you get me talking about Olympics or personal development, and Clark Kent, which is the real Ruben, turns into Superman for a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
It's not it's weird. It's like an alter ego. I mean, I don't even have to think about it. And so I started speaking professionally, and that kept me busy for about 6 years building that business and writing a couple of books. And then when business started getting good, I got bored. I needed a challenge. And I found out no one's ever done 4 Winter Olympics in 4 different decades. Okay. And I thought, man, that's awesome. Who knows? That could give me some gigs. Okay. I actually thought about the marketing side.
There you go. Come on, baby. Once an
Most people don't
entrepreneur
get
out,
it. I'm glad you-
yeah.
Okay, we're on the same wavelength. I thought, yeah, to give me gigs. And so I started training again. Now, the first 3 Olympics, I was bulldog. Well, being such a hard-headed bulldog, I was not very coachable. Okay, I took everything coach told as a suggestion. I mean, it's ridiculous. My first coach, he was a Ukrainian. His name is Dmitry, and he used to joke at me. He said, "Man, your nickname shouldn't have been Bulldog. You were only half Bulldog. The other half was Mule, okay? I mean, if you just hard-headed like a mule, if you just listened to me, first time, everything I taught you, you wouldn't have gotten hurt nearly as much. But at least you kept at it and you didn't quit. So that part makes me proud. So I'm uncoachable, hard-head, mule head for 3 Olympics. It's a miracle that I made those. And then on the way to Vancouver, where I was going to be 47, and it wasn't going to be just the top 50 in the world. It was going to be down to the top 40 in the world. So that was higher level than I'd ever been. I realized, okay, I got to do something different. Otherwise, I'm fooling myself. And I just promised myself, and I wish I knew what prompted it, but I just promised myself, okay, from today on, whatever coach says, that's it. Okay. If he says, shave your head, wear lipstick, that'll make you go faster, we'll do it right now. And I started improving like crazy. And I made, again, by the skin of my teeth, but I made Vancouver, right, at 47. And so, coach, this is my new coach for the last 20 years. His name's Jonathan. He got 4th place in Lillehammer, so he's got fruit on the trees. That's important. You want your coach or mentor to have fruit on the trees, not just a theorist, okay? I don't care if they finished high school. I don't care if they have 12 PhDs, but they never did it. I'm following the guy that's been through that minefield, right? And so, that means everything. And so, Jonathan, he goes, when I started, training again for Vancouver, he goes, I can't believe you're still scared. I mean, you've been doing the luge for what, almost 30 years now, and you're still scared. What's going on in your head, when you're sliding? And I said, man, as I see those walls going faster and faster, I get tighter and tighter, and I can't believe I can even steer at the bottom of the track because I'm tight like a board. And he goes, luge is not about speed. I said, what? He goes, it's not. They can clock you at the fastest speed, but if you crash at the bottom of the track, you lost the race. Luge is about who has the best time. In fact, it's the only Olympic sport that's timed to the 1/1000th of a second. Okay, that's how important the time is. And so stop looking at those walls. They're scaring you. Put on blinders. Just pretend you're a horse. Put on blinders and focus on a spot 30 feet in front of you. And your thinking needs to be, what do I need to do in every section of every curve to ensure I'll have the best time? If you change your focus, the fear will disappear. And I trust them, and I just let go now. That night, I did about 100 mind runs, visualization runs with blinders on. The next day, I go back to the track. Fear disappeared, okay? It didn't reduce in intensity. It just disappeared. and that made me looser and better. And that's a big part of the reason why I'm sliding better now. I'm not afraid.
Man.
But what do people focus on? They're focusing on the economy. They're focusing on whatever the news is telling them to be scared about this week, and that's not good for business. The economy is the same for everybody, just like the speed's the same for all of us. That's our environment. But you need to focus on, what can I do? What's the number one thing? This is the answer finally to your question.
Oh,
What's the
this is
most
great.
important? What's the thing? What do I need to do in the next 10 minutes to move my business forward? And
That's great.
I run my business 10 minutes at a time to try to stay right on that important and not urgent
Oh,
spot.
Ruben El Burro Gonzalez. I love it. I
El
love it.
burro.
So there, okay, you dropped 2 nuggets in all of that. Besides answering the questions, you dropped 2 nuggets. And I need to underscore this for my listening audience,
Yeah, yeah.
because if they've been listening to my show, like, they've heard me talk about this, and now they're hearing another high level person who just said, so you dropped the alter ego talk. I mean, so one of my mentors wrote the book on alter ego, Todd Herman. It's profound impact
I
on
read
my
that book.
life.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's got
profound
the
impact on
glasses in
my
the
life.
cover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
been amazing. Like, that opened I went down the rabbit hole of research with that. And it's proven science. It's psychological distancing. You just need to know how to do it. And obviously you figured it out. Then you drop the whole visualization as helping us, stay focused and repeat. Ruben, I preach this pretty much on every 5-minute drill I do. At the end, I'm like, look, you just learned all this content. Visualize yourself doing it. And
Yep.
so it becomes second nature, and your nervous system, like, it stores it.
Yep.
And so thank you for bringing this up, because I feel like, and look, I'm guilty of this. As an athlete who did it as part of being an athlete, for some reason, when I became an adult and I got in this professional world, I forgot I had that tool and strategy. So thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that up.
So you were telling me a lot of your listeners are either practicing or former high level athletes. And we, as athletes, we tend to start believing that the stuff that you hear in school, that they're just a dumb jock, and we start buying into that crap. And it hurts our self-image, and it reduces, it really limits what we'll even go for in our life after sports. But when you think about it, when you think about a boss who's looking for the ideal employee, we have everything that they're looking for. They have attitude, hard work, resilience, because we know how to come back from losses, because I don't think there's ever been 100% athlete at anything.
Right.
And work ethic, coachability, etc. We have all of these character traits that they would kill for. They can train us to do anything. And as long as once we learn their system, we can use that character that we learned, right, through sports, and we can be stellar. Those people that say we're dumb athletes or dumb jocks, they have no idea. They have no idea. They're clueless.
Yeah.
They're just repeating something they heard.
So you know what? Let's stay on here. Let's stay on this identity topic for a minute here. I mean, you dropped a nugget during your embarrassing moment story from Evander, but let's stick here for a second. So you discover the luge as an adult. You essentially taught yourself the sport. You qualify for the Olympics 4 separate times. I'm assuming largely through just obsessive repetition, your tolerance for pain and discomfort, and just this refusal to quit. Is that a fair assessment? Like,
Oh yeah,
that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
you. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is despite you technically being, slower than your competitors, didn't have access to the same resources, and constantly being overlooked. Okay. So when I hear that, I go, okay, this guy is clear on his identity, and circumstances don't define him. So, Ruben, many, I could argue most, high capacity people like us obsess about learning how to win and then doing what it takes
Sure.
to win.
Sure.
You had to learn how to lose repeatedly without letting it define you. So, knowing that most high capacity leaders secretly think, and I say secretly because most, especially men, high capacity men, I mean, they think, and they're not willing to admit it, they think struggle equals failure.
Hmm.
What mental reframe helped you separate your performance and results from who you are and who you were becoming? I'm curious to dig into your brain on this because you've already dropped so much wisdom on it. I'm like, okay, we got to go deeper here.
Okay. Uh, hmm.
You said you like questions on interviews that people don't ask
No,
you.
no, I
Well,
love it. I
this is
absolutely
how
love
I
it.
roll around
I,
here.
I wish this was a 12-hour interview. This is awesome. So when I first called Lake Placid, and then when I finish the story, remind me about what are the two ways that you guys do visualization, okay? Because I'm gonna forget. So
Okay.
you gotta remember.
Okay.
I do that when I'm speaking because I go on a tangent off the tangent off the tangent because I'm a storyteller and I go from the heart. I don't use PowerPoint, and I will deputize you. I'll know that you're on the front row, you're taking notes and you're paying attention. I says, "What's your name, Jr. Man, you're my deputy now, okay? You're my helper. I'm gonna get lost, and you're gonna reel me back in." And everybody thinks it's shtick, but it's not. I rely on you now, okay? Because now
Yeah.
I don't have to think about the visualization part, and I can focus on what's more important. The story I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay, so I call Lake Placid. I'm 21 years old. I'm all pumped up because I saw Scott Hamilton. I thought of that little guy. You know, he weighed 110 pounds soaking wet, you know, and he wins the gold medal. He shattered my paradigm of what an Olympic champion was. I thought he had to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so now I believe. And by the way, there's two types of courage. This kind of works into it too. Two types of courage you got to have to reach a big goal. You have to have the guts to get started, and everything's hard in the beginning because you don't have any skills, right? So you have to have the guts to endure, to stay in the game long enough to learn those skills. And that's when you're, crashing and burning. And hopefully
Mhm.
you are making a lot of mistakes because that's how you learn. And then once you learn the skills, you use the skills to reach the goal dream. The courage to get started comes from believing it's possible. You believe something's possible, hey, I'll give it a shot. Piece of cake. Courage to not quit comes from desire. You want something badly enough, ain't nothing gonna make you quit. All right. I always had the desire. I didn't believe it was possible. So for 11 years, I didn't do anything. I see Scott Hamilton. I got the belief. I'm ready to take action. That
Mhm.
was the spark. Okay. So I call Lake Placid. I'm an athlete here in Houston. I want to learn how to luge. I'll be in the Olympics in 4 years. Will they help me? And the guy goes, "How old are you?" And I said, 21. And he starts laughing. I mean, laughing hard. He goes, "Forget it, man. You're way too old. We start them off when they're 8, 9, 10 years old. Heck, in Europe, they start them when they're 5 years old. You should
Jeez.
have 10 years experience now. There's no way. No way." I didn't know what to do. I just knew hanging up, that's not an option because that's the end of the dream, right? And so I just kept talking to him, talking, just to buy some time so I can think of something. And finally, he must have. Well, I fell into a total by talking and just by being myself. I fell into a huge opportunity and probably a huge win-win that I didn't know existed because I didn't know anything about the luge. I happen to tell him that I was born in Argentina. He gets all excited all of a sudden, okay, like 180. He goes, "You got a passport?" He goes, "Yeah, I still got my passport." He goes, "If you'll go for Argentina, we'll help you." And I said, "Why? A minute ago, you're not going to help me at all." And he said, "The sport of luge, we're this close to getting kicked out of the Olympics because we're not global enough. It's just the US, Canada, and some European countries. Let me check something." Goes, comes back. "Man, there's nobody in South America. You'd be a whole new continent." Wow. I'm a continent now, right? All of a sudden. So if you go for Argentina, you'll travel with us. We'll train you. We'll even lend you a sled and a helmet the first year. Eventually, you got to get your own stuff. They're still helping me 40 years later. Okay. I mean, it's been like this for 40 years. They show we got a cool
Wow.
deal. They show me enough to where I can't beat their guys, but enough where I can make the Olympics, and I'm cool with that. But anyways, so if you'll go for Argentina, but if you want to do it at your age, you want to do it in just 2 years, it's brutal. 9 out of 10 people quit. I started smiling. I thought, wow, this works right into my plan. This is awesome. I was looking for a tough sport. And I said, "What's the second thing?" He goes, "Expect to break some bones." I go, "Great, great." And he gets really quiet for a long time, comes back, goes, "What's wrong with you, man? I just told you you're going to break some bones. That makes you happy." I says, "Look, man, I hope it's 10 times harder what you're telling me. I hope it's 100 times harder. The harder it is, easier it is for me because I'm not a quitter." I'm bulldog. I was
Mm.
praying that would be so hard that some of the East Germans would quit. Okay, didn't pray hard enough. They show up, they race, they pick up their medals, they get excited, and they go home. But that's how it started. And so I go to this camp just a couple of months after, and and uh and it's the springtime, and but just a couple of months after I saw Scott Hamilton, because you gotta take action when you're excited. Okay, if you figure this is not the time to color coordinate your closet. All right, you got to
Mhm.
use that excitement because it's gonna die down, and so you got to run when you're excited. And so I go, it's springtime. The track is no ice. We're going to go on wheels from a half-mile point of the old bobsled track, 50, 55 miles an hour. All we're wearing is tennis shoes, shorts, and a t-shirt, okay? And a
Stop.
helmet, but the helmet's just for decoration. It's for the lawyers to be happy, right? You crash at 55 on the concrete, you're dead. They call it the weeding out process in the sport of luge. I mean, they got this really weird humor. They put me in a class with 15 guys every day. There's a couple less showing up. They all had all these excuses. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it's too far away. I miss my family. I don't like the luge. I didn't like it either. First 2 years, I broke my foot twice, my knee, my elbow, my hand, my thumb, a couple ribs. Neck, chiropractor's dream, because you're pulling 6 Gs on some of those curves, and it's like a maraca. Okay. And so, but
Mm.
I, I didn't like the luge. I hated it. I was scared to death. I white knuckled it literally for 25 years. Okay. But I understood that that is the only vehicle, that is the only sport that's going to get me to my dream, the
Mm.
Olympics. And so I stayed with that vehicle. A soccer ball, it would have been more fun, but I was on the bench of my soccer team, because I'm slow.
So, so there's the answer.
I didn't
I mean,
remember the question.
no, no, no. Because I asked you, what mental reframe helped you
Oh, okay.
separate your
Okay.
performance and results, from
So
who you are
I
and who
hang
you're
up the
becoming.
phone. So I hang up so this guy's trying to talk me out of it, right? You're gonna get hurt. We're gonna have to compress. It takes 10 years to learn this sport. It really does. They start you at the bottom of the track and they slowly work you up. You don't have to go from the top to your 19. And so these kids, they're very gradual. It's not that bad, okay? You're gonna get hurt, but it's not. I'm the guy who got hurt a lot. We're gonna have to compress 10 years into 2 years. You're gonna get hurt a lot. And we need to do that because the next 2 years, we're going to throw you to the wolves. You're going to be in the World Cup circuit racing against the best in the world. And a couple of months before the Olympics, they tally up all those races. Top 50 get to go. 51 watches it on TV. So you go for Argentina. I told them, I'll go for Pakistan, man. I don't care. Right? I just want to be in the Olympics. And
Yeah.
so it's that desire thing, right? Desire. Your house is burning down. You're not going in there to get your laptop. You're going to go save your babies, right? And
Yeah.
so what's the difference? Well, your desire is different, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I hang up the phone, and I'm so glad he didn't candy coat her. He could have said, "Hey, luge, come on down. It's awesome. Easiest sport in the world. You're laying down, you're going downhill. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, right?" He could have
Yeah.
done that, the used car salesman shtick, but I hang up, and the reality hit. I thought, wait a minute, this guy didn't say I might break some bones. He said I will break some bones. Okay, so how am I going to handle it when I break a bone? And I thought, I've broken bones before. You wear a cast for 6 weeks, take it off, it's healed up and stronger than before. So when you really
Mhm.
think about it, broken bones just a temporary inconvenience. I reframed it. I put on mental armor because I knew it was going to be a battle. It was going to be war to get through these years.
Yeah.
But the victory was the Olympics, and it was worth it for me.
The thing is, though, and before you shared that, and I said, "Hey, there's the answer." Your response to him, and I don't know if you verbalized this or you just said it internally to him, but you said, "I'm a bulldog." Yeah, you're gonna get 9 out of 10, quit. You're gonna break some bones, and you're like, "I'm all right because I'm a bulldog." And it's
Right,
interesting.
right.
Would you agree, Ruben, that it's easier to reframe, especially after hard days and hard moments and just failure? It's a lot easier to reframe when you have an identity that is consistent with
R-
where you want to go versus where you are. In your case, it
Sure,
was, I'm a bulldog and this is what I do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It wasn't fake it till you make it bulldog. Okay. It wasn't, secretly
No.
Chihuahua, but not, but what says he's a bulldog. No.
Yeah.
And I came to the States when I was 6. Okay. My dad was a chemical engineer. I was born in a little refinery town in Argentina. And things started getting really bad over there. I mean, terrorism, people disappearing, hyperinflation. And my dad, even though he hardly spoke any English, he figured out a way to get himself transferred, right? Because back then there was quotas of how many Argentinians can go to the United States, how many
Mm,
Colombians, how many Indians, whatever, right? And the U.S. would use those quotas, and they would pick people who can actually help the United States be even stronger, right? Makes
sure.
sense. It's like you're recruiting people for your team. This is Team United States. And so my dad got transferred. We're in Queens, New York for 2 years, and then
Wow.
Houston most of my life. I live in Colorado now. I couldn't stand the heat in Houston. I just moved here 15 years ago, and I'm getting ready to move to Utah, 30 minutes away from the track, so I can train more because I'm going for another one. We'll talk about that later. But I'm in better shape
Wow.
now, mentally and physically, than ever before. Okay,
Isn't
and
it
I'm
crazy?
63. Coach, I took 3 7-year breaks. Okay, in this long 40 years of luge, and coach says, you're like a really old car that's been in the garage a lot. You don't have that many
Yeah, yeah,
miles on it. Your body's not
yeah.
broken down, but mentally you're actually listening to me now. That's the main thing. And so it's a long shot. He says it's possible. Okay, that's all I
And
need to
that's
know.
it. That's all you
It's
need.
possible. I don't care if it's 5% chance. If coach says it's possible, I'm in. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh
and
man.
because
I,
because through my commitment, if my commitment is zero, then the chances are not 5%. They're zero. But if I commit everything I got, then my chances might actually be 25%, right? Or 50, or who knows. So I control that through my commitment. And that desire thing in between Olympics, it's funny. When I took those 3 breaks where I didn't have the Olympic dream, I didn't have that, you know, that focus, that fire in my belly.
yeah.
Somebody offered me a piece of cake. I'll eat it, right? I'll eat the whole thing. I'm goal oriented. I'll eat the whole thing. Okay. I don't want just one slice. But now, or anytime that I'm in training, right, with a goal that I'm passionate about, then chocolate cake, Olympics. Chocolate cake, I'll take the Olympics.
Yeah. Yep.
And the weight just drops, and I get in better shape, and I work out more, and everything flows and I got picked on a lot. Okay. And in school, man, from the time I was 6, I'd say almost all the way through college, I got picked on a lot. Okay.
Mm,
And because you're the different kid, at first it was a kid didn't talk to anybody because it didn't know the language. I had different customs, and so I never once thought it was a racial thing. I always thought, hey, I'm the oddball, right? I'm the misfit. But man, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. It
yeah.
sucked, okay, but it made me stronger. I'm sure that's a big part of the reason that I'm a bulldog. And I read
Well,
lots of biographies, and I still read them. My dad got me to read them when I was 10 years old. No, when I was about 12, he got me to start reading biographies. And uh, and I love them because every biography is the same story: dream, struggle, victory.
yeah.
Dream, struggle, victory.
Yeah.
Always, okay?
Yeah.
And so I started looking for what's one thing all these people have in common. You know what it was? It was perseverance. They refused to quit. They're a bunch of hardheads. My mom, she always called me a hardhead. That gave me hope. Thought maybe got a little bit what it takes. Just need to polish it up. At 12 years, or after a few years after reading enough biographies, I just made a decision. Because success is a decision, guys. Okay? It's a
Yeah.
decision. Sooner or later, you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you become willing to do what you weren't willing to do yesterday. And that's when results change.
Mm,
You got to
mm, mm,
outwork,
mm.
and you got to outsmart competition. And so I it, I became I decided that, okay, if perseverance is, thank God that it's something I'm already have a little bit of. And it wasn't until high school, I'm walking out of the library one day, and this kid says, Ruben, your nickname needs to be Bulldog. I mean, I didn't come up with it. He goes, what do you mean? Oh, bulldogs, they never quit. They're tenacious. I said, really? I turn around. I'll go back to the library. Got me a book on bulldogs. I started reading up on them, right?
Yeah.
And man, they used to have to fight bulls, okay? I mean, they were created to be. The original bulldogs were Rottweilers, but the bull, he'd shake because it hurts, when he's getting bit, and that'd break his back. That's why he looks like a little Arnold Schwarzenegger, little butt. He
Mm,
can shake like a maraca all day, but he ain't letting go. Yeah.
mm.
And so
See,
now my nickname's Bulldog. I don't even realize it, but I'm creating positive peer pressure, and I got to live up to that name. That made me even a better Bulldog.
mm,
And so, guys, you're listening to this. Here's what you need to think. Start paying attention at what many different people compliment you on, because that's the thing that stands out about you. It's normal
So,
to you. You don't know it's special because it's you. But if
yeah.
everybody else is saying, man, you're so boom, you're so boom, you're so boom, that's your superpower. Okay.
Yeah.
So you grab hold of that and grab hold of the dream, and together you can do it. And
Yeah.
along the way, you got to find a coach or a mentor. Okay.
Yeah.
You got to find somebody that's been through the minefield, and
Yeah.
you just follow in their footsteps. And that's a shortcut to success. I mean, I wrote a book called Shortcut. It's about that. Find the
Yeah.
leader, follow the leader, and then you become the leader, and then
Yeah.
you repeat at higher levels the rest of your life.
I mean, this is a masterclass in identity-driven performance. And, we get into the mindset discussion, people figure out what I do and what have you. And they're like, oh, so your mindset drives everything. I said, not necessarily true. I said, because in my experience, the mind follows the identity. So in your case, I'm a bulldog. And the thing is, and I hope my listener picked up on this, this is the answer to the question. He gave you a masterclass in answering this question. You went and studied that bulldog. You figured out his tendencies, and then you adopted even more of those tendencies, which then translated into a mindset, which then translated into behavior that was aligned with your big goals.
Bingo.
You
Look,
you
when I'm
can't
looking
stop
down, I'm
that.
not texting my friends. Okay, mindset follows identity. That's the title of a book right there.
There it
We're gonna
is.
co-write that book. So
You got it.
why
Let's get
not?
our,
I mean, serious.
let's,
We could do it.
no, it is so
Piece of cake.
overlooked. It's so overlooked, Ruben. Okay, so I want to hit this. I know we're getting close to the end here. So,
Oh, let me tell you about the visualization first. That'll
Oh,
be quick.
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, before a training run or before a race run, and by the way, you do the exact same thing when you're training and when you're racing. You don't change anything, okay? I mean, nothing, because you want it to flow, or you want to do everything you can to increase the probability that you'll go into flow, right? And so, because you can't tell it. I mean, it comes from letting go, but that comes from relaxation, and that comes from confidence, and that comes from many reps, right? It's not something that you just, BS. And so before the last 10 minutes, we're taking mind runs, and you get your whole body into it, because the luge is a field sport. You're torquing the sled with your whole body. They just talk about the legs, but your whole body is torquing it so you can drive. And so you're going through the whole thing, and it's always the perfect run. Okay, that's the perfect run. And then you're up at the top, and the guy before you, he's sliding. You got a couple of minutes to go. Unless he crashes, you got a couple of minutes to go. So you take one last run up at the top, and but at the hotel, it's a different kind of visualization. And you don't do it all the time, but you do it, especially, when you go to a new track, just to remind yourself. You're doing visualizing escape routes, okay? And it's what am I going to do if I'm a little late into curve one? How am I going to fix it? How about if I'm a little early? What do I hit the left wall, or do I hit the right wall? And you go for every part of the track. What does that do? That gives you confidence, because whatever can happen, you can fix it, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes it becomes like a knee-jerk reaction where it's automatically fixed. Okay. A deer jumps in front of you, and you don't think, oh, that's a deer. He's about 600 pounds. I'm going to die. No, your body does something, and hopefully you don't roll the car. Right.
But Ruben, that's the other look. Okay. So people who hear about visualization and what have you, they think it's just visualize the roses and the perfection. And this is one thing my athletes, it's like a total perspective shift for them. I said, no, wait, time out. Yeah, we'll do a lot of that stuff. But what about when things don't go your way? Why don't we visualize the best of you executing after that? Because isn't that going to, at least in baseball, that's going to happen a lot more times than the other. So
the
I love
not pitching it where you like it.
Yeah, every time. Are you kidding me? So, Ruben, this is what I wanted to ask you. The experts will look at you and they'll say, and I've trained with them, so I know how some of these neuroscience experts think. They'll go, yeah, but Ruben, grit, it's not a long game. That bulldog mentality, that just keep going, keep pushing. If you don't limit the grind and the grit, to moments in certain seasons, you're going to set yourself up for burnout. I'm
You have
curious.
to have times
Yeah.
of recovery
Yeah.
so
I'm
that you
curious how
can
you
train
did
at a
not
higher
burn out.
level. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
balance it.
There you go.
But you
But
don't balance your life, okay? No such not if you want to go to another level. I mean, no matter what part of your life, if you want to take it to another level, then you have to be you have to get unbalanced. Stop watching TV. Stop doing all these things that are not
yeah.
taking you to where you want to do. And these people, the naysayers, they're gonna start calling you a fanatic. Okay, and that's actually a good thing. They think it's a bad thing, but it just means you're a little focused. These guys, all your coaches and your mentors, are way ahead of you. I think, well, finally Ruben's getting a little bit focused. They call it fanatic, but it's just a little bit focused. Okay, let's
Yeah. Yeah.
let's let's see if we can get him to the next level of focus.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you bring this up because, guys wired like us, we love the gas pedal. We love it. We love it. But burnout is a reality. Burnout, you get in that car of yours and you just hit the gas pedal and you hold it down, it's eventually going to run out of gas. It's just,
Sure,
it's,
sure.
we're not designed to go anywhere
No.
else. So I just wanted to bring it up and I wanted to hear it from the Bulldog himself that, we do need some release time. We do need recovery time. It's part of being elite. It's not separate from. So
Yeah, but I would say at least for me, okay, I'm 63 now. My recovery time doesn't mean I'm gonna go get drunk and I'm gonna eat a ton of carbs and kill my take me back steps.
mhm.
Recovery needs to be recovery, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so because
No.
somebody offers you that chocolate cake during your recovery day or whatever, or no, you still don't eat the cake.
Yeah.
So it's not. Don't use that recovery thing. Not you. I'm telling the listeners as an excuse. Oh, Ruben said, we can go hog wild on a
Brother,
recovery. No,
you
no
got
way. Not if you're a pro.
you
Not if
got
you care.
you got to quit talking about cake, man. You're talking about visualization. You're getting this cake in my head, and I want to go eat some cake. So just stop talking about cake. All right, look, I'm actually so for those of you listeners who listen to my show regularly and know how I ask the big domino question to my guests, I've decided to call an audible with this one. I got a question for you I want to ask at the end. But before we get there, Ruben, and I put you on the spot with that. Let us know. We mentioned speaking at the beginning of this interview. Let us know what's going on in your world right now, where we can find you, and obviously I'll put in the show notes. But I just want to let the audience hear where they can find Ruben
Sure.
Gonzalez.
Sure. Best place to go is olympicmotivation.com. That's the easiest one to remember. olympicmotivation.com.
Okay.
And check out the videos. Most speakers, they put 1 5-minute video. Anybody can be good for 5 minutes. I think I've got an hour plus worth of little videos. And you can actually pop some popcorn, round up the family, and make it an Olympic night because it's all rated G. But it's got story point that'll help your kids be better.
Love it. Awesome. And then social media, LinkedIn, stuff like that.
LinkedIn is the best for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Just look me up for LinkedIn, Ruben Gonzalez, Olympian or Luge, and I'll be the only one that comes up.
And you're all over Amazon with your books, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. All right. But again, if you're listening to the show, don't worry about remembering all this. We'll put in the show notes. We'll make it easy for you to connect with Ruben. And, if you're an executive or meeting planner that's listening to this episode today, we'll give you opportunities to easy ways to find Ruben, book him for your next event. So, all right, Ruben, this is going to be a fun question for you. Again, you said you like when people, ask you different questions. So here we go. This is my big domino question, customized and exclusive to you. If you could go back and remove one belief about hard work or toughness that actually made your journey harder than it needed to be, what would that belief, what belief would you remove? What is it?
I'm going to have to switch it up on you a little bit because I was always a hard worker because I felt I needed to make up for the fact that I'm not physically, I don't have the speed or the power or any of that stuff. So I would try to, figure out in college. I was a walk-on on our soccer team, Division One. We
Yeah.
were top 20 in the nation, but coach said you get to play if we're winning by 2 goals because you're a threat to our own team. But I was on the traveling squad for 3 years because he could always point to me and say, and so I realized I wasn't very valuable on the field, but I could still be valuable to the team off the field. And I did everything I could to help us win that way. And
Mm.
so I think that, I guess we can twist that into answering your question. It was going to be a different kind of work for me because no amount of soccer practice was going to take me to be able to play more. But I didn't want to get cut. That was it was like Rudy. I mean, I don't want to get
Yeah.
cut. And I like marketing, and I made little posters, come watch us play, this Saturday, and I plaster them all over the place. And then a booster club got formed, and and I have to believe that we did better because I was part of that team because and we still get together, 40 years later. And so I had to change. I had to go from being just about me to what's the best for the team because that's what's going to help me.
Mm.
And I've taken that belief for 8 years. I was a part of an international luge team made up of little bitty countries that had onesies and twosies, but no luge, infrastructure. And they hired a huge coach, couple of vans, and we all traveled together. It's the international luge team. And we all realized that if we help each other out, we have a better chance. Out of the 15 of us, maybe 10 of us will make it to the Olympics because we're the ones that are scratching and clawing for the bottom spots. But if we hoard secrets, then maybe 5 of us will make it. And so we actually help each other out, even through the Olympics. And 10 of us
Mm.
made it to Vancouver. So it's a
Mm.
mindset and it's raising all the ships. And hopefully
Yeah.
you're one of those ships.
That's so
So
good, man. That is so good. Talk about a lesson in abundance mindset versus let me keep it all in and scarcity. I love it. Ruben, you're amazing, man. I am so glad we got connected.
I'm here.
I honor you, brother. You're doing amazing work. You you have so much wisdom on this topic. So thank you for making the time to come on my show and share
No,
so much, man.
no. I'm so glad that Damon hooked us up. And
Oh yeah.
and you are guys, you're listening to this. Keep listening to this because I've I've been a guest on a lot of podcasts, but JR, he's a pro. He's a pro.
Mm.
He has fruit on the trees. He teaches. He was able to unpack stuff out of my stories that I hadn't even thought about before. So that comes from knowledge. That doesn't come from, And so, yeah, keep tuning into him because he'll take you to another level.
Yeah, man. You're the best, Ruben. You're the best. All right, crew. That's my man, Ruben Gonzalez. Now, here's the deal. If you were blessed by today's episode, if you learned something that you know is going to make you better, my ask is you pay it forward. Share this episode with someone you love and care about. Come up clutch for someone in your life that you know needs to be encouraged by what Ruben shared today. And again, if you want the show notes from today's episode, just go to comingupclutch.com and click on this episode. All right, this episode's a wrap. Until next week's 5-minute drill, remember, winning isn't a result, it's a lifestyle. So keep pursuing that life of champions.
This episode is over. Get more no BS content to help you master your mind, body, and relationships by hitting subscribe. This is Coming Up Clutch with JR. Thanks for listening.